Hi, how are... You again?
I have some last-minute gift problems.
Don't worry. Hickory Farms has over 100 gift packs. Gifts with mild cheddar cheese, smoky bar cheese. We are the super cheese market.
Yes,
and Hickory Farms specialties like beef stick and sweet hot mustard.
Look, I'll just put myself in your hands.
Okay. Let's see. It's 14 elves.
Mm-hmm.
How many reindeer?
Well, there's Dasher and Dancer and Prancer.
Would like to thank you for taking us into your homes. We wish you all a happy holiday.
If anybody loves trains, it's me, Johnny Cash. You know, if your boy's under 10 like mine is, he needs a big Lionel like this Black River Freight. Lionel also makes HO gauge trains for older kids, like this Burlington 181. But for smaller hands, the big Lionel is easier to handle and put on the track. This Christmas, get your boy a train that's built for the way young boys play. A big, rugged Lionel. Lionel, the big train for small hands.
Mattel Electronics is offering a big Christmas bonus on its electronic games. You can get cash rebates by mail from $2 up to $12 using these coupons when you buy qualifying electronic games and a Pepsi-Cola product. Get details and coupons at the toy, electronic, and food stores featuring these Mattel Electronics and Pepsi-Cola displays. And score a cash Christmas bonus from Mattel Electronics.
Letting us have a ride in the Batmobile.
Well, I can't do that tonight.
Can we help you fight the Joker?
No, but I could have used your help with that weirdo floor walker. Hey, I've got an idea. Come on over here and sit down with me. Mary Frances, you sit here. Harry, where's Nathaniel? Come on up here, sweetheart. All right. You see, kids, this is not a night for fighting evil. This is a night for singing. Here's a song I'll bet your daddy taught you when you were little kids. This old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on my drum with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. All right, Mary Frances, here's a rhyme for you to make. This old man, he played two. He played knick-knack on my... Beautiful, you did it. She's terrific. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. All right, Nathaniel, you ready?
Yes.
All right. This old man, he played three. He played knick-knack on my... You know, I couldn't have done that without him. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. Harry, my boy, here's one for you. This old man, he played four. He played knick-knack on my...
Door.
It's a stroke of genius. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. All right, kids, here's one I'm sure you're never going to get. It's tough. This old man, he played 348.
Played knick-knack on a great big piece of Christmas cake.
Holy Cole Porter, he did it. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home.
Phone call for Bruce Wayne.
Oh, that sounds important. Excuse me, Nathaniel. Pardon me, kids. Yes, Commissioner. Great Scrooge. Is that villain on the loose again? Right, Commissioner, I'm on my way.
Oh, come on, Batman, sing us another Christmas song.
Oh, I'm sorry, kids, I can't. You see, crime never takes a holiday.
The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Good evening and welcome to the Good Stuff Live, folks. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly television from decades gone by, well, you have indeed come to the right place. And tonight's a pretty special night. We're calling it RetroPALooza 2. And that's because I've got a special guest list with me. We've got Barry King, for those folks who are fans of BK on the Air, Pat McCormick from Golden Age of Television, and Thrash Pondo Pons, who needs no further introduction. He's just Thrash Pondo. Awesome live streamer and wonderful YouTube personality. We'll bring those folks on in just a minute, but first I want to say hello to everybody who is out there who's been waiting for the last few minutes or so, or longer. I noticed we had some folks like Lance Chaffin and Gary Carpenter and John Collins, Adrian James, Tracy Roth Myers. These folks have been in the chat for going on an hour. Kenneth Wilkinson. So hello to all you folks, you fine, dedicated supporters of the channel. It's awesome to have you here. Lance Chaffin, happy early birthday. I understand it's Saturday. So looking forward to, I think you're going to be 52 years old. Congratulations on that. Well done. Mr. Led is here as well. Let's see. Daryl Johnston is here with us this evening. I'm going to miss some names. Jimmy Neutron. Let's see. Or maybe not. Shannon Burns is here as well. Tom McCluskey's with us. I'm just scrolling through as quickly as I can. Keith E. is here as well. Hope everything's going well, Keith. Zuperplex is in the house. Looks like Barry King popped into the chat and said hello to folks. Awesome. Zachary Miller's here as well. Let's see. Emily Miller is here as well. No relation, I'm betting, to Zachary, but Alo Duarte. Welcome to the live stream this evening. Constance Cherry, David C., Dave Claroni, John Doe, Jason Goldtrap, Rosalia Zarita. I think I might, Dominic D., Fred Smithberg, just when I think I'm done. And if I missed anybody, I sure apologize. GR. I think that's it. At least I'm looking at the folks that have said things in the chat. I'm sure there are other folks that are watching the live stream. And to everybody that's here this evening, we've got just under 50 people here with us. Dave Thomas is here. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy this evening. I'm certainly looking forward to the conversation that it's just going to be fun. And whenever I get these guys, my brothers from another mother, on with me, it's just a great conversation. So I'm going to bring them on one at a time here, and I'm going to start. Let's go reverse alphabetical order. So we'll go Thrash Pondo. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing awesome this holiday season. How are you doing, Dave?
Excellent. Great to have you with us tonight, Thrash. And now this is going to be a dicey one. I know we were having some technical difficulties with Pat McCormick. I'm going to bring him on, and let's see how things sound and look. Pat McCormick, everything okay on your end?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Awesome. That's great. Can you hear us? That's the question.
Yeah, that's even better.
Okay. Good. That's good news. And finally, Barry King. Mr. BK on the air. Good to have you with us, Barry.
How are you?
Excellent. Excellent. What a great night it is to have these fine gentlemen with me. RetroPALooza 2. Who'd have thunk? I mean, I was wiped out after RetroPALooza 1. I don't know about you guys, but you got it in you tonight?
This is the sequel.
The sequel. You know what they say about sequels?
They're either really bad or better than the first one. We don't know which.
I'll go with the
This
latter.
one should be an equal.
That's right.
We'll be the Empire Strikes Back of.
So it's going to be a darker evening, is what you're saying, and the conclusion won't be as satisfying, and we'll be just waiting on bated breath for the next live stream.
I'm not kissing my sister. No, not going to do that.
You better not, Barry. You better not. Oh, good gravy. You know, that's those of us that are old enough to have, gone to see Star Wars in the theater in 1977. I mean, I think we all thought that's where it was going, right? Luke and Leia romance, and then they pulled the old sister card on us. That was crazy.
Even as a kid, I'm like, what?
It's interesting. Did any of you guys read? There was a novelization by Alan Dean Foster called Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Yes, sure did.
The old man brought it home for me, and I read it, and they must have let him know that things. I mean, it's kind of like they probably gave him some rules that he had to live by, because that could have gone horribly.
Yes.
And thankfully it didn't go in that direction. I'm trying to remember if the Marvel Comics ever started to kind of play out that romance at all, or if they also knew it wasn't happening.
If memory serves, and Thrash may be able to fill it in, I don't think they did in Marvel, and I was a fan of the Marvel Star Wars comic until Cynthia Martin. Toward the end, they had some really bad art at the end, but it kind of gave up on it. But yeah, I don't think they ever did that in the comic. I hope they didn't. I don't remember it.
Talking about bad art.
The only story arc I recall in the Marvel Comics had more to do with Han Solo. So I don't recall it ever dealing with Luke and Leia ever getting iffy.
Yeah. The art I really struggled with was in the actual movie adaptation. The guy was Howard Chaykin. Do you guys I remember the name of the artist. I did not like his artwork at all.
No, he wasn't a very good artist. He did the earlier issues and the movie adaptation. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't that great of an artist. At least they didn't adapt At least they didn't adapt the holiday special into a comic book. They didn't do that. So.
Thank heavens. Does anybody remember Jax the Rabbit from the comic series?
Yes. Very cool character.
He was cool. Luke hated him.
I only read comics for the articles and the coupons. Maybe I should go.
I remember. I love the ads in the comics, especially those Hostess ads that were like little adventures of the superheroes.
I just changed the subject. I love it.
Hostess, Twinkies, and fruitcakes, all that.
Can't beat them. All right, Sean Innes is here. Tom Lemery. Let's see if someone else popped in while we were visiting. Mr. Led's here. The Unapologetic Geek is with us this evening.
My friends.
Tug, my man.
Yeah, Tug's here. I think I said hi to Shannon. I'll say hi to Shannon again, though. And that may be it. Emily Miller's asking, and you guys can answer this, Han or Han?
Well, John, usually. Sam? No. Hans. That's it.
Hans
Hans
Solo.
Hans Christian Andersen Solo.
Yeah. Did he open up a refreshing Fresca?
Ricola. Okay.
Did you use Irish Spring soap?
I like it too.
One.
I think I called him Han originally, but I think over the years I've started calling him Han Solo.
I always called him Han Solo, but I know he was Ham Salad in Hardware Wars. Is that right? The short film.
And I used to call her Jessica Han.
Oh yeah, Jessica Han. That's a topic for another day. Yeah. Sam Kinnison's girlfriend, right?
Yes, the bringer down of Jim Baker, I believe.
Yes, the bringer downer of Jim Baker.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, you know what? We've got a super chat in the house already. Let me quickly address this. It's from our dear friend, channel supporter, John Collins, who says, I hope all is well with all of your guests and hope they all have a wonderful holiday seasons as well as everyone else. Since this is probably the last live stream for the year, let's give a few extra super chats. Oh, that's kind of you to say, John.
Man, that's worth Lawrence Welk if I ever heard it.
Should we get Lawrence out of the way right now?
Oh, yeah.
Let's just get it out of the way. Folks, turn down your those haters of the Lawrence, turn down your volume. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to do so. And then it's all thank you very much. Let's find those. There they are. All right. 3, 2, 1, and
thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. Thank you very, very, very much.
Was it good for you guys?
That was great for me. I never get tired of the well.
Never.
I like the little dance you were doing there, Barry. That's
Sorry, I
kind
meant
of
to stop.
Trump-esque.
I meant to stop earlier, but I did miss time to. I'm sorry.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Love it, love it, and thank you, John Collins. That's very kind of you to do so. I truly appreciate it. All right, so we're going to talk. We're talking holiday stuff here tonight.
Yeah,
I prepped you guys, give you a little bit of a warning that what I was going to ask, and we're gonna do this in conjunction with the chat because I want to get their answers as well. So I am going to. Tracy says Pat's face. You know, Pat feigns a dislike for the Lawrence, but you know what? I think he truly has appreciation for the man and his talent.
I actually grew to love it. So it was either that or the girls. I'm not. Maybe it was both.
Those girls are cuties. There's no doubt about it.
Maybe it was that clip specifically. You could pick another clip that would just make me run screaming easily. But that one.
Not all of them are gems. Not all of them are gems. That's for sure. Danny Staten's here with us. Jerry Gillespie's here with us as well. Welcome, guys. Good to have you in the stream with us this evening. So first question for you guys, and we'll go alphabetically. So we'll work our way down from Barry to Pat, Thrash, and then I'll perhaps provide something, and then we'll go to the chat as well. But the first question of the evening is a simple one. And again, don't stress, fellers. You can change your mind tomorrow. No one's going to hold you to this. But it's just this. What is your favorite holiday television special? You're up, Barry King.
I'm up. Well, there's so many. There's so many of them. I mean, growing up when we did, and there were more in the 80s and 90s, and all the kids, depending on what generation you're from. But it actually falls in my top 5 of all favorite Christmas productions of all time. And for me, it's got to be number 1 holiday special. NBC ran it first in 1964. Then it went on to be on CBS for many years after that. It's the Rankin-Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's my favorite Hollywood special. There's nothing that little film introduced me to stop motion in a crude claymation way. But it's got everything. It's got the story of Rudolph. It's got the voice talent in it. You've got music. Help me out, Pat. Is it Paul Soules that talks for?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I was just going to add to your choice, the music.
Yeah.
That cartoon actually created some classic Christmas songs because of the cartoon.
Yes, I mean Silver and Gold by Burl Ives.
Right.
So you could listen to that outside of the special, and still it's a great Christmas song.
Holly Jolly Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. You've got Paul Soules doing the voice of Hermie, the elf who went on to. I mean, he talked for Peter Parker and Spider-Man. He talked for the Hulk and those '60s cartoons. He did so much work in cartoon and voiceovers. He went on to actually be in the Incredible Hulk, the first Marvel MCU Marvel production as. He was the pizza store owner named Stanley. That's Stan Lee. His name was Stanley.
Of
and
course.
The pizza parlor owner. So then you have help me out, the lady that does the voice for Rudolph. That's Billy.
Come on, Dave. Come on, Rash.
She was Witchy Poo, right? In
Billy Hayes.
Billy Hayes. Yeah. So you've got so many. I hope I'm right on that. I think I'm.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
You've got so much. My nephew now. He's about 22 years old. He's about 7.5 feet tall, and he's got this big red beard. He's got hair, and he wears this cap sometime in the wintertime. And I'm like, Jake, you look just like Yukon Cornelius. You really do. He does. I expect him to throw a pickaxe up in the air, and it fall down. He's like, nothing. Perfect. So that's my favorite Christmas special of all time is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's my vote.
Love it. Pat, how about you?
Well, I love that one too. I have to say Charlie Brown Christmas. With these the unfortunate aspect of them not playing on network television anymore, which is just I don't know whose idea that was and why they thought that these timeless specials weren't worthy of network television anymore. I would have loved to have been in that meeting and just kind of understood. My vision of it is just really young people who think maybe we're it's just a little too old. Of course, we're talking about stuff as timeless as the Rankin and Bass stuff. All that stuff is timeless and so well done. And the music, oh my gosh. And that's the thing, the music from all of them. Being a musician, I just love the stuff that, these cartoons had. And, of course, it was just something about Christmas time is here. You hear that and you're like, I'm in Christmas mode. And that was what that cartoon, that's what it had. And so, yeah, for sure, my favorite. Definitely.
It's a great one. It's a great one for sure. How about you, Thrash?
Well, again, I too have to say that I loved Rudolph when I was a kid. Did you
freezing?
Oh, dear. Am I back?
He's back. He's softly.
Yeah,
you
keep
guys
going.
really glitchy. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
We got you.
Is he back?
He's doing his stop motion thing.
Okay, good. I'm gonna keep talking then. I'm gonna have. I have to go with A Year Without a Santa Claus. I love that one when I was a kid. It was, I don't know, between Mickey Rooney as the Winter Warlock, who was one of my favorite characters of any Christmas special. Late great James Whitmore doing his voice. I don't know. And if you watch it, the story really kind of holds up. It's not just a Christmas story; it's a story of good versus evil, which actually I just think holds up to this day. And whenever I saw that one, I just always was riveted. I mean, I was riveted to all of them. I was a kid; they were Christmas specials. I loved all of them, but that was the one that I think really, really landed with me when I was a kid.
Thrash, was that the one that had Fred Astaire doing the? Was he the MC of that special?
The impresario. He was the narrator.
That's the word.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, another great one. Another great one.
You're
for
welcome.
Sure.
Great.
So I will. All three of them are fantastic, and I have to. For me, it would be a Charlie Brown Christmas, but I love all of the ones you mentioned. And there's going to be some others that were mentioned in the chat that I love as well. But there's something very special for me about A Charlie Brown Christmas. I do agree, Pat. It's a shame that it's not on broadcast television anymore. I do want to share that I believe if you download the Apple TV app, you don't have to subscribe to the service to watch it. I believe they make it free available on the app.
But let me ask you, don't you get this feeling that because it's not being viewed on a wide scale, I had the same feeling like when the marathons come on. It's like I've got all my Star Trek episodes, but when it's on TV, there's something about a collective experience that you can feel. You're not alone watching it. And that's why I can't do it that way. I can't put in a DVD and watch a Charlie Brown Christmas. I just can't. It has to be on TV, and everybody's got to be watching it with me, you know?
Right.
Absolutely. It's weird but it's so very true. There's a connection you feel. Whether you're in an audience in a movie theater with people or you're all in your homes watching something that's being broadcast live.
It's true. We're all connected. We are.
And I think it's different now with the new generation of kids. It's not necessarily good or bad, but it just doesn't connect with them in the same way as it did to us. All four of us usually, we still have that feeling of growing up with our grandparents and our parents from the 50s, the generation before. So that bled over into us. I speak for myself and you guys too, hopefully on that. But I think a lot of that had to do with us growing up as well as that old fashioned sense of community and the way Pat put it. Everybody's watching it together when it's aired on television. And I agree with that.
Yes, well, that's why BK on the Air is so good.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
It's true.
Appointment television, and in Barry's case, appointment radio. Although I have to say that I love to just listen to that radio show while I'm out doing chores and that kind of stuff. That it's handy to have it so portable.
It's so good.
Thank you very much.
All right,
so that first segment, I love that.
Let's go to some comments from people in the chat. Let's see. We've got Yogi's First Christmas. Folks, remember that one? Of course, Fred Smithberg brought up the holiday special, the Star Wars holiday special. Frosty the Snowman.
How did one forget?
What does he say? Happy birthday.
Yep, I had a crush
on my list for sure. Yeah.
I loved Karen.
Rudolph. The Nutcracker. Tracy Rothmeyer says, for this Jewish gal, it's a Charlie Brown Christmas. I love that. Lance says the Star Wars holiday special. Does anybody remember this? I don't remember a Snow White Christmas.
No, I've heard of White Christmas, but not Snow. Obviously, with the Disney character involved.
You would think, yeah. Charlie Brown, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, says Gary. Sean Innes says, oh, yeah, The Grinch. Grinch Stole Christmas, another classic. Here's one I haven't heard of. John Doe says, Breaking Bad Ass is the ultimate kings of the holiday specials, bar none. Do we know what this is? Do you guys know what this is?
No.
It's a takeoff? Is it a parody?
I don't know. I mean, I know what Breaking Bad is. I'm familiar with that show.
Like something you do fighting over gifts in a store, shopping for Christmas.
Fred says Rankin Bass owns Christmas. Danny says Star Wars Christmas special is so bad it's awesome. Exactly. Al says Rudolph. He agrees with you, BK. Tom Lemery just wants to underscore how awesome Burl Ives is. Dominic D says Rudolph and the Grinch. 10K View says leaving a like for Rudolph. Zuper says hands down Charlie Brown. Let's see. Gary Carpenter says Charlie Brown, the Grinch, Rudolph. Gary Carpenter says 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. I remember that one. That was a good one too. Frosty the Snowman, Muppets Christmas special, says Lance. Here's another one from Tracy, Lamb Chop and Sherry's Hanukkah special. I don't remember that one.
No, I don't either.
I do remember the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. Let's see. No Love for the March of the Wooden Soldiers. Is that we're talking again about Nutcracker, right? With that?
That or Babes in Toyland.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't love the Nutcracker. I've seen it a couple of times. I'm going to just go out on a limb. That's not on my list of favorite holiday specials.
I like seeing the Nutcracker live. Atlanta Ballet, the Atlanta Orchestra here in Atlanta perform it live every year. And we've gone several times. We didn't go last year, but seeing that live is a completely different thing than watching it on television.
Agreed.
Tom Lemery points out that the voice of Rudolph was Billy Mae Richards.
That's good, Tom.
Good job, Tom.
I went for years thinking it was a guy.
Yeah.
The guy with the plugged up
Jerry
nose.
says
That's right.
Grinch Stole Christmas. Voice of the Grinch, Boris Karloff. Yeah.
And the narrator of the Grinch that stole the Grinch is I can't remember his name, but he was Tony the Tiger. He's got a very strange name, but he's the same voice for Tony the Tiger. Was the narrator of the Grinch? I'm sorry, the singer of the song.
He's
Cyril
sang the
Croft.
song.
That's right. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah,
Nicely
great voice.
done. Nicely
There you
done. Let's
Cyril
see.
Croft, I think his name was.
That's right.
Fred Smithberg says that he also agrees that it's weird that Charlie Brown isn't on broadcast television anymore. Are there any holiday? I guess there still are some holiday specials on network television.
Yeah.
Right?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, for example. So it's like, what's the problem with the Peanuts, man?
Yeah. It just, I mean, the estate of Charles Schultz must have, or whoever owns that product must have sold. I know there was a big deal when Apple TV launched. They were doing a new Peanuts cartoon, and
Right.
somehow that all must have got worked into that.
Ah, that's awful. Those should be just left alone as part of an institution of American.
Anybody remember Fat Albert Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
We've got another John Collins. We love you.
I remember
dude.
the Halloween, not the
This is
Christmas.
the last one, my friend. We'll
Don't
still
tell
put
me
your
they're
comments
dead.
on the screen, but
My
no more,
girls are dead.
no more super chats. I would like to point out, first and all, and most seriously, Dave, I hope you get feeling better. Yeah, you can tell. I'm still on. I've had a cold, but I am starting to feel better. Also, Pat said the Welk women are cute. Remember, they're dead by now. Well, yeah, they are. But there's a lot of actresses that are cute that have passed on, that are having heavenly birthdays now. But good point. Good point. Thank you, John, again. I got to go with this one for you, John, because this is just how I feel about you, buddy.
You are special.
Thank you so much, John Collins. All right. Let's see.
Dave,
go ahead.
We were thinking the same thing since at the time of this show, we just learned not too long ago that Kirstie Alley had passed away. And we were watching Match Game, on the episode of Match Game that she was on as a contestant. And we were both looking at each other and we're like, everybody on this episode has passed away, almost all the panelists, including Gene Rayburn. So when you said that about the Lawrence Welk ladies, it kind of hit me. I'm like, wow, we just said that about Match Game.
We're binging Larry Sanders right now. You watch that show and most of them are dead. And it's just so hard to believe it seemed like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
So some folks just get nailed early, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it is tough when we lose folks like Kirstie Alley and others. And you're right. I mean, you watch television shows and you realize that you're being entertained by people that are no longer here with us. But I do think it's a really, truly wonderful thing that the gifts that these people leave behind, right?
Yes.
It's a lasting legacy of entertainment.
Absolutely.
Always will be. Yes.
Yeah.
Immortalized.
Right.
In their own way,
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to question number 2. Favorite holiday movie. Going in reverse order, we'll start with Thrash Pondo and pray for a good connection. Go.
I have to go with It's a Wonderful Life. I'm sorry. It was my all-time favorite and still is.
That's a great choice.
Yeah, no one's going to argue with you on that. And folks, go ahead in the chat. Please share your favorite too.
Thank you. I thought of honorable mention.
Now you've broken up. We didn't hear it, Thrash.
I did.
Did you have a second one?
Oh no, It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Oh, well, I was going to say I have a lot of honorable mentions. We're No Angels, Night of the Comet. You already knew that one.
Yeah, I thought you were going to. I thought Night of the Comet was what you were going to share. I thought you were going to share Night of the Comet.
I can't make that my favorite of all time. I have to go with a legitimate choice. Would you like me to? I'd be happy to.
No.
All right, I will go with it. And we all know why. We don't? You don't watch my channel then, do you? No. It's a post-apocalyptic Christmas movie. And of course, you all know that's my favorite subgenre.
That's your thing.
It doesn't sound like a holiday movie, but, well, it takes place during the Christmas season. They end up in a mall during one of the big action sequences. And in the end, there is a Christmas miracle. They're saved from the zombie government scientists by a guy in a Santa suit. What could be more Christmassy? So, all right,
Love
fine.
it.
For the purpose of this discussion, I will go with Night of the Comet. Oh, and of course, Comet, Santa's reindeer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm married to a Catherine Mary Stewart lookalike, so I think about her every time I see that movie.
Yeah.
Ooh, you lucky devil.
Oh, but she's blind though; she can't see.
Lucky dog.
Pat, you're up.
Okay. Well, as far as classics go, I think the first knee jerk would be A Wonderful Life, of course, but I liked A Miracle on 34th Street. I thought that was a great story, and how you really felt when they can actually get in and tug at your heartstrings for real. And that film did it. It's a Wonderful Life did it in its own way, but that was the thing. That was the way movies were done then. They told stories that brought in you emotionally and let you stress out with whatever's going on. You were there, and then of course always with these movies there was redemption and a happy magical ending, which you can't go wrong with that kind of formula. I don't think
you cannot.
As far as moving into the more modern era, Home Alone, I love that show because I just love revenge, and it's just a fun holiday tradition movie that doesn't get old. And I would say those would be my guys. There was one that I was trying to remember the name of it just now, and hopefully maybe somebody can help me. It starred Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan. I believe she was his wife.
Family Man.
Oh, yeah. I loved that movie, folks. If you haven't seen that one will do the same. It has that same.
It's a Wonderful Life kind of feel to it, doesn't it?
Exactly. Appreciate what you have. Be grateful, be thankful, and all that. But of course, modern craziness. It's just a great film. So
yeah, those are all great choices. Barry, you're up.
Well, I'd like to say a quick comment about It's a Wonderful Life. I've always thought growing up watching it, had a different appreciation for it growing up, because I see it now as it's a 90-minute Twilight Zone episode. It could have been because of what it's about and the weirdness, and he gets to see his death and stuff. So I think it would work as a long Twilight Zone episode. And also, not Miracle on 34th Street, the one that Pat mentioned. Wasn't it fun as a kid when you first saw that? Because I believed 100% that guy was Santa Claus, even in the film. As I watched it, I bought it the whole way. I really did. And it's a great movie. I've got a number one film that was a little later than that, but when it first came out, it wasn't a hit. And then it gained a lot of cult status over the years, and even had a sequel that came out not too long ago to it finally. And my favorite Christmas movie is now, for a long time, has been The Christmas Story. Oh, I love the book. I love that movie. I don't care how many times. That's one that still is shown somewhere on a network television, probably Turner or TNT or somewhere shows it for 24 hours eventually. But Little Ralphie, the BB gun, Darren McGavin, Melinda Dillon as the mom, Peter Billingsley. I mean, come on, that is one of the most perfect Christmas movies. I have no idea why it flopped when it came out, and we talked about this, all of us, one time, about how things flop when they're first released, and then they find their audience. I think we talked once about Police Squad turning into The Naked Gun, and no one got it. Great movie, and I do want to hit on the sequel that came out called A Christmas Story Christmas that was just released. I thought it was great. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I thought it was a great, worthy sequel. That movie did have, I think,
he's grown up in that one, right? Barry, yeah.
Yeah, it had 2 sequels. They did a direct-to-video sequel to A Christmas Story years ago, and then another one that just kind of flopped, and I don't even count those, and I don't think they do either. But this new sequel has Ralphie, and almost all the cast has returned that are available still, and it was fantastic. But it's a Christmas Story to me, perfect Christmas movie for me, because even though it's from a bygone era, a child of the 70s we can still identify with it, wanting that Christmas gift no matter what it is. And the honorable mention I'd like to mention is there are so many versions of A Christmas Carol with Scrooge and the Ghosts by oh come on, who wrote it?
Dickens.
But I have one favorite version that I always watch every year. Just watched it last night, and that's the 1984 version with George C. Scott, A Christmas Story, A Christmas Carol, where he plays Scrooge. To me, that's the most chilling, the most entertaining, and the most well done theatrical one that I've ever seen. Nothing against the other versions, but that's another one. That would be my second choice, is that version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Great lesson learned.
This is a Shakespearean performance in that.
Oh yeah, great. Fantastic.
So let's go back to A Christmas Story Christmas. And I meant to look this up after watching the movie, and I forgot, and now I'm all of a sudden remembering it. So I'll just ask you, Barry, and maybe you can have the answer for me.
I hope I can.
Melinda Dillon, did she pass away? Is that why we have Julie Haggerty as the mother?
I looked that up, and Melinda Dillon is still alive, and Melinda Dillon is retired from acting. So I thought that, from what I read, I didn't think she felt confident in coming back and doing it again. Plus, she's much older than Julie Haggerty, and I think it would look odd now as old as she is too, as compared to how Julie looked. I think Julie Haggerty did an okay job, and I didn't recognize her at first, because she's from Airplane and some of those other movies. But I think she did a pretty good job. But that's what I found out about Melinda Dillon. I was thinking the same thing you were when I heard it was coming out. And I'm like, well, where's Melinda Dillon? Why isn't she playing the mom?
Right.
She was great. So I think it's because she's retired is what I found out.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I think Julie Haggerty, you talk about those failed sequels. I'm pretty sure she might have been the mother in A Summer Story.
Really? I need to look that up. I didn't know that. Yeah.
And again, I didn't look it up because I just watched it, and then I completely forgot about it. But
right.
But there might be a connection as to why they used her. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen Melinda Dillon if the stars had aligned. But
yeah, I loved it because the kids were back. Scotty Schwartz was back.
One more thing I'd like to point out.
And
go ahead, Thrash.
Oh, got a delay.
Oh, well, we just kind of froze up. I was letting you finish. I, too, at one point thought Melanie Dillon had passed on. In fact, someone recently corrected me on that. So perhaps down the road, there was an erroneous knowledge of her death. Someone may have said that, because it seems like a lot of people thought she was dead, except for the people who knew she wasn't. A fake obituary or an accidental one, because like I said, I thought she had passed on too, and someone said, "Oh no, she's very much alive." I'm like, no kidding.
Yeah.
So go figure.
Yeah, we've all had enough of the death rumors, please. Yeah, that's enough.
So I love to say Batman Returns. When I talk about my favorite holiday movie, I love to say Batman Returns because it's just a favorite movie of mine. But it's kind of like Night of the Comet, Thrash. It took place during the holidays. It's that Die Hard, Lethal Weapon kind of holiday movie.
Gremlins.
Yeah, but it's not really. But I keeping in mind the Christmas Carol movie that the George C. Scott version in '84, I love that as well. But I'm going to share, if you do have Apple TV Plus, Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell is amazing. I've watched it twice already. The music is by the team that did Greatest Showman and Dear Evan Hansen, and it is just the soundtrack I've listened to 10, 15 times already. I love it that much. The songs are great. The acting is, for the most part, pretty darn good. You got Will Ferrell in there, so he doesn't play a man-child in this particular show, which is always a good thing. And it's just really a lot of fun. So if you have Apple TV Plus, I I would recommend. It's the 2 hours are well worth it. You'll feel good.
You really could do a whole podcast on all the versions of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them out there and so many really good ones.
That's a good point, Barry. I was just going to say, everybody has their own favorite version.
Yeah.
And I think I do. I just can't remember which one it is. There's like 4 of them that you'll see every season. And every one of them has an aspect of it that I like better than, say, the other one.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
There's one where Scrooge actually comes to Cratchit's house with a bunch of toys and joins them for the holiday dinner instead of his nephew.
Yes.
And I love that. I mean, that's a great twist. Maybe not how it was written, but it was a good touch.
There's a very evil one too. I don't know if you guys saw it with Guy Pearce playing Scrooge, and it's rated R. It's very dark, very horror like, but it's set in the period, and it makes Scrooge an even more vile man than you ever could think he is. So it's another facet of it. So many ways to make it.
It's a horror film. It's a ghost story.
Yeah, kind of is.
Yeah. All right. The chat is saying, let's give the chat a moment to tell us what they like. Lance Chaffin is saying Die Hard. Tug, the unapologetic geek, says Home Alone. Fred Smithberg says It's a Wonderful Life. Zuperplex says Christmas Story. Tug also mentions Gremlins. Donald Paluga says Lethal Weapon. One dude says Home Alone. Shana Burns mentions A Christmas Carol. One dude says Home Alone 2. Okay. Oh, here's a good one from Tracy Rothmeyer's Holiday Inn.
Great movie.
Yeah, great one. One dude says A Christmas Vacation. Let's see, Christmas Story and Christmas with the Cranks and Elf. Okay, so Mr. Led has a trifecta for us. Yeah. Emily Miller says Polar Express was sweet. Yes, it was.
Agreed.
That whole the animation at this point starts to look a little dated, but it's a great show.
Oh yeah.
Muppet Christmas Carol with George C. Scott is another one Gary Carpenter mentions. Dominic D mentions Christmas Vacation. Was 48 hours during Christmas time? I don't remember that.
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's kind of like Die Hard, though, yeah.
Steve Powell says Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. Let's see. Dave Claroni says Christmas Story, followed by Christmas Vacation. Sean Innes says that he will argue about It's a Wonderful Life. Well, it's that movies are a subjective thing. He says, always said the movie should have ended when Jimmy jumps off the bridge into the water. Okay.
I think Alfalfa's in It's a Wonderful Life and the Little Rascals. Isn't Alfalfa in there somewhere?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that could be a really long argument.
Trading Places is another one. It's a Wonderful Life. Scrooged is another version of A Christmas Carol that's fun. Christmas Story is mentioned again. Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore. Haven't seen that one mentioned.
It's a great movie. It's a guilty pleasure. The Salkinds from Superman made that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. 85-ish, 84, 85, somewhere mid-80s.
That's right.
Yep.
Dudley Moore.
Emily Miller is with me. My new favorite is Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It is so wonderful, folks. Let's see. The Night They Saved Christmas. Is that the spoof movie that's in Scrooged with Lee Majors?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah.
Do you guys remember that? They're watching television. It's a promo for a show that's coming up on the network that Bill Murray runs, and it's Lee Majors and
in Scrooge. Yeah.
Artillery. It's kind of like a tame version of Violent Night. What we're seeing now with Santa Claus taking on soldiers and stuff.
That's funny.
I was thinking of this film. Is it called Krampus? Or
that's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, it's a horror film where Santa's a monster.
Right, right. And in the spirit of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was really good. It was very.
I haven't seen it. It's good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Someone mentioned Elf earlier. Guys, I didn't see that till last year. That's the first time I've seen Elf. I just didn't see it for some reason. I finally watched it. It's very funny. I liked it.
It is. It's a wonderful movie. Jimmy Caan is so good in that movie.
It's great.
Mary Steenburgen, as well as, you got to give props to Will Ferrell.
Sure, man, I will.
Yeah. And what's the guy's name that he's not an elf? The writer, don't call me an elf.
Oh yeah,
the little
Game of
fella
Thrones,
from Game of Thrones.
Oh, I can't. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Classic
But
TV.
Lannister's his name, but yeah.
Alzheimer's won't let me tell you.
He wasn't born yet with what I liked.
John Collins says Christmas Story. Let's see. Tracy Rothmeyer's. Oh, John Collins mentions 8 Crazy Nights. If for the Adam Sandler cartoon, it's an okay movie, but yeah, definitely because Sandler is Jewish. There's a Hanukkah theme to that movie, and that is fun. Let's see. Jerry Gillespie says Scrooge, the 1951 version. Oh, wow. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Yeah. But you have to watch the Mystery Science Theater version of that one.
Yes. I would vote for that. Yeah.
Al Duarte mentions Jingle All the Way. Surprised I haven't heard that one before.
I saw Emily point out the Krampus is not Santa, though, in that scary movie. He's
just a Santa-like monster.
Goodness,
yeah.
that he's not.
Prancer is another one Gary's mentioning.
The anti-Santa.
Let's see.
The anti-Santa.
I think we're good on the comments there. Let's go ahead and drop that one. One more round of questions, fellers, and then we'll give away a subscription to Remind Magazine and play a little game. But final question of the evening for my RetroPALooza pals. You've seen movies this year. I'm sure we've all been to the theater. Maybe just a couple, 2, 3 of your favorite movies this year. We haven't started with you, Pat. You're up first.
Of course, you would start with me. The guy that went to like maybe 0 movies last year.
You can pass if you want to pass on this one.
But I don't want to pass. That's not playing right. What did I see? What did I see that I liked? Well, I saw Batman. What else did I see that I liked? Something that I liked. I went and saw the newest David Bowie movie with my wife, and found that extremely entertaining.
So, was it a documentary on Bowie?
Yes, but it was put together really well. The only downside for me was that it was at concert volume when the music came on.
Yeah,
my old ears were like, all right, this is great. And now I can take my hands off it. So I figured it out. But yeah, it was really entertaining. And what a genius that man.
Oh yeah. What a talent. What a talent.
Yep.
For sure. All right. Barry, how about you?
Movies this year. Well, I have to lump some streaming ones in there because I did go to the theater and see a few, but I streamed some others. This one won Best Film at the People's Choice Awards, I think, today or yesterday. It's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's the one of the latest Marvel Comics MCU films. I actually really loved it. I'm a big Sam Raimi as a director fan. I'm glad to see him take the helm on that. He's totally. That's right down his alley. Is something like that. That air of horror and zombies and thing was there. And I saw the Batman too. The Batman for me was the biggest surprise that I got because I was really going into the theater thinking I'm going to hate this because the guy from Twilight's in it. I'm not familiar with Matt Reeves as a director that much. And Batman's been done over and over and over and over. Well, let's go see him do it again and mess it up. I actually walked away liking the Batman, believe it or not. I thought I liked the Batmobile. I liked the movie. I liked his portrayal of an angst-filled Bruce Wayne and stuff. I thought it was much better done than I thought. I streamed the latest Predator film called Prey. When the Predator was back in the Comanche Nation years ago. It won some award. I think the lady that played the main character won an award at the People's Choice Awards too, I think. But that was a great film. I thought it was a worthy Predator sequel. But I also loved some things that were streaming. I loved Marvel's Werewolf by Night when it came out or near Halloween.
Good.
Wasn't it? It was fantastic. I thought
Man Thing was in it.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't even know when I started watching it. Man Thing was going to be in it.
And the werewolf didn't come in toward the end, and I'm like, okay, well, that was a good twist. So it was a great horror venture into horror, because Marvel did venture into horror for a while. I did like Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special on Disney Plus. I thought it was great. These are short films, by the way. So there you go. There's a few that I could throw out that I really enjoyed this year, movie wise. It wasn't a bust this year. Next year looks like it's going to be even better.
Should be.
Speaking of streaming, we just finished Wednesday.
Oh yeah, what'd you
I
think?
heard that was great.
We watched every episode in one night. My youngest son, and I.
You
we
don't
could
want
not
to shut it
stop.
off. You didn't want to stop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to watch it.
Well,
Tim Burton is a genius in terms of directing. He directed most of the episodes. And then, of course, Jenny Ortega is phenomenal as Wednesday.
All of the kids were.
Yeah.
All of those kids could act. I mean, Christina Ricci, come on. Nice little twist.
It's Ricci in it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's really
we
fun.
loved it.
It's well done. And it is turning out to be one of Netflix's biggest hits of the year. So we'll see Wednesday part 2 for sure.
Wow.
Oh, it seemed like it. It seemed like they're, there's the question mark at the end, I was like, all right, please bring her back.
I have to watch it.
Wonderful interpretation of the Addams Family. It's not just Wednesday. The whole Addams Family is there, and it's great.
Good.
Bob, you're up.
Well, unfortunately, I still haven't rediscovered going back to the theater since the whole COVID debacle. So if I can't watch it on TV, I haven't seen these new movies. So I did get a chance to see the Batman, and I too, like you guys, I did a lot more than I thought I was going to love it. But the big film that I have seen most recently, was Dune. And I remember going to see it without a lot of expectations. And I got to tell you, I was very pleasantly surprised. Some people prefer the 84, and that's fine. I mean, it wasn't very accurate, but it did a lot of. I liked it because I thought it was a little more faithful to the source material. I thought, and I glitched again, did that? I'm very sorry. And I love James Momoa as Duncan Idaho, and I loved how they depicted the Harkonnens in it. I wish they had gone ahead and suicided through and just made it one big long film.
Yeah,
because I'm still waiting for bated breath. We haven't even seen Fade Rutha yet, and that's killing me.
That's
so bad. I am really looking forward to the second installment. But again, I thought Dune was, let's just say, for a person who really loved the novel, I could really sink my teeth into the movie.
All right.
Yeah, much better version than the mid-'80s version. I like Lynch as a director. He's done some good things, but that wasn't my Dune, and I enjoyed this version much better as well. I agree with you. Let's just make it a massive 4-hour movie and give us the story, but
give us an intermission.
But we have to wait, and we're going to wait for at least a couple more years, right?
All right. I'll be 69 when the last Dune comes out.
I thought it was next summer.
Is it next summer? I hope. That'd be great.
I will
Momoa was awesome.
We'll be 60 when the next James Bond film comes out.
All right. I will echo the Batman. I really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of Matt Reeves, so I went in there with high expectations. I loved his interpretation of the Planet of the Apes movies. He really did, bring new life to that series in a way that Tim Burton wasn't able to do with his version of it.
Yes, very much.
So I really enjoyed it and was hoping for good things, and I felt like it delivered. There were some things that I didn't love, but with Batman, the great thing about Batman is just the character's so malleable that you can have all these different versions, and Robert Pattinson's version is a good one. It's solid, and definitely with you on the Batmobile. That was a great Batmobile. After I felt like the one that existed in the Snyder verse was a bit of a letdown, so it was great to see that character, and I do believe the Batmobile is a character.
Kind of mirrors a Christmas Story. There's so many ways to tell that story with filmmakers.
Yeah,
the same story, same characters, but they're making it their own and telling their own story.
Absolutely.
But wouldn't
Batman's
you
just one of those guys that can be lighthearted like Adam West or
Right.
super angsty like Robert Pattinson.
wouldn't you have called the team up of Ledger and Bale as good as it can get?
For me, The Dark Knight is the best Batman
I
movie
mean,
ever.
that's the point for me.
Yeah.
That's the best. This better be better than what the best is.
Can't be.
And because it can't be, I'm let down.
Yeah.
So I'm the odd man out, but I really didn't like it. I thought there was too many unbelievable aspects of it. I mean, that car chase was cool with all the explosions, but I think a lot of people died in it.
I did that. I did, they don't show any of these deaths.
And
but
they
I was
never
thinking
went
the
back to
same
check
thing.
on them.
Holy cow. What's going on behind these vehicles?
Well, that's the thing. And it's like, I think the Bale would have went, at least commissioner, there's a bunch of dead people out on the freeway, at least for something, but
Hey, the Avengers like have killed a lot of people too in the background in New York too. It's a hazard of living in those big cities, as I
Collateral
watch it. I want to live in the country. I
Collateral
never live in
damage.
Gotham. I would never live in Gotham or Metropolis ever.
For
I
sure.
would never live there.
For sure. Other movies that I really enjoyed this year, I mentioned Spirited. It's actually my favorite movie of the year. I just love it that much. And the other one is one that I didn't catch until streaming, which is BJ Novak's directorial debut, Vengeance. It's on Peacock, if you have the Peacock streaming service.
Someone else told me about that.
Utterly caught me by surprise. Wasn't expecting anything and found a really wonderful human movie that deserves an audience. And I know that it got some great reviews, but I hope more and more people, more eyeballs get in front of that movie.
Very good.
All right, let's look and see what the chat is telling us, what their favorite movies of the year have been. I'm going to do some scrolling here to get to the right spot. We're so far behind in the chat. Let's see. That's what happens when you get chatting away with, like I said, just talking to these guys. I'm sorry, folks, but we could do this for hours. We won't, but we could.
But Dave's voice will not make it that long. Guaranteed.
It will not tonight. Let's see if I'm not seeing much in terms of, here we go. Elvis and Cradle Rock. I don't remember Cradle Rock. Do you guys remember that movie from this year?
No. And I didn't see Elvis. I need to see Elvis though.
Elvis was good. It's in my top 5 of the year.
I did see Top Gun Maverick though. I did see that.
Yeah, I did too. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah. Tug says he's got to go with the Batman. Matt Reeves is one of the greatest directors working today. I agree. I think Reeves is he brings new life into, in this case, a couple of franchises that needed a different take, a different perspective. Shannon Burns says Elvis. Tug mentioned Prey as well. Let's see. What else do we got? Tom would like to see Elvis. Oh, yeah. Lance mentions that Nirvana song. Boy, do they make use of that Nirvana song in that movie over and over and over. Let's see.
To see Elvis, you got to be in a Broadway musical kind of mood.
You do. For sure.
It's not a story film. It's a performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of. I mean, that's really Baz Luhrmann, the director of that movie, has made a career of unorthodox films. And so I was expecting something a little bit different, and he did not disappoint.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gary Carpenter says he thought Wednesday flopped. No. Big hit.
No.
Big hit. Tug mentions that Dune was really a 2021 movie, I believe. He's right on that. As is another one I was going to mention was the Spider-Man movie.
Right. Yeah.
With the 3 Spideys.
No Way Home, yeah.
2021 as well. All right. I'm not seeing a lot. Looks like, a lot of our community members really don't get out to see a lot of movies at the theater, but most of these movies we've mentioned are on streaming. So if you have a streaming box, I'd encourage you to check some of these out. Definitely Top Gun Maverick is worthy of a view as well. I did see Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I've got to say, it's definitely a unique movie. It's a multiverse movie without superheroes. And my oldest son, thinks it's one of the best movies he's ever seen. For me, it ran too long, and it got a little bit crazier than even my imagination could take me. There's moments that are just nutty, but it is definitely, if you're into that kind of experimental filmmaking, it's worth a look for sure.
I'm definitely learning about some movies from you guys tonight that I haven't seen now that I want to see. So that's good.
Yes. Sean says he was intrigued by the trailer for Vengeance. Yeah, it's on Peacock. It's free now, folks. Go watch it. It's great. It is wonderful. And surprisingly, for what you think it's just going to be kind of like this comedy with maybe some violence in it, it's just surprisingly heartfelt. Let's see. I think we're good here. I think we're going to go ahead and John Collins mentions the Elvis movie. Yes, Tom Hanks was wonderful in that movie for those folks who've seen it. Let's see. Oh, and Emily Miller mentions The Well. I'd like to see that as well.
Yeah, me too. Brandon Fraser. Yeah.
I'm not a big Darren Aronofsky fan. That's the director of the movie. Did The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
so I think it's going to be kind of artsy, but I want to see Fraser's performance.
Yeah, so do I. Great guy, good actor too.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. I think we're going to drop that. Let me go ahead and let's take this banner off the screen. We're going to do some commercials. I'm going to take a drink, try to recover my voice. We'll be back.
Dave.
Yeah, we'll give away a magazine subscription. So hold tight, folks. We've got more to come. Go ahead and find those commercials. Got to pay the sponsors. We really got to pay those bills.
And now, these messages.
Dear Santa, I want a Fighting Frankie action figure, but not Fighting Frankie. I want the bad guy with a laser and reversible face, but not the bad guy with a laser. I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Horse out! Dear Santa, I want a Fighting Frankie action figure. Another horse? Here, this will help.
Get a Polaroid one-step camera for under $25, and maybe you'll get what you want this year.
A joyous holiday gift, The Nutcracker, performed by the Bolshoi Ballet with Mrs. Betty Ford as storyteller. Then Father Knows Best, Home for Christmas.
It's a little hard to tell people your children aren't coming home for Christmas.
The Anderson family faces an emotional holiday. Next is Dean Martin's Christmas in California with Dean and guests including Linda Lavin, Chico and the Man's Gabriel Melgar, and Jonathan Winters. The Nutcracker, Father Knows Best, Home for Christmas, and Dean Martin's Christmas in California. Sunday starting at 7, 6 Central Time.
Furnish it with love. Grow apple trees, honey bees, and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a coat and keep it company. That's the song I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a coat and keep it company.
One of my favorite commercials from the, what was it, early 70s, probably.
Yeah, I can't see that without thinking of Don Draper in the show he was on where they're the advertising
Mad Men.
Yeah, where he actually thinks of that slogan at the end of the show and puts it together. So yeah, that makes me think of that.
Wonderful show. Another wonderful show that on what was that on A&E? No, what was it on?
Was it
something like that?
Was it A&E? Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Oh, AMC.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. AMC.
It had an A in it. Yeah.
And something that sounded like E.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were almost there.
All right, guys. If you've been around, if you've hung out on these chats before, you know the drill. Hashtag remind is what needs to go in the chat. What we're offering up is a full year subscription to Remind Magazine. This month's Remind Magazine is the annual farewell issue. I'll post a link inside the description of the field of this video. Not yet. It'll be after the fact. If you want to get a copy of that, if you don't have a subscription, they've provided me with a link where you can go and just order that one on its own. It's a very good issue, a really wonderful way to remember all these great celebrities and stars that, you know, their lasting legacies, their gifts to us are the hours and hours of entertainment that we continue to consume and enjoy. So I'm going to put the timer on the clock. We've got 14 entries in, but let me throw a timer up on the screen. Give folks, 30 seconds here to get hashtag remind on or into the chat. And then we'll go ahead and give this subscription away.
It's a great magazine. I love it.
It really is. You know, and we talk about a Charlie Brown Christmas going away, and at least in the way we're used to consuming it, magazines are a rare beast. And there's something about holding a magazine in your hand, taking it into the bathroom with you to do some serious reading.
That's right.
You know, there's just it's better than a phone.
That's why I go for the coupons.
You're right. Exactly.
Honey, we're out of paper again. Use a coupon.
Oh no. Same with comic books. I can't read a digital comic book. I have to hold a comic book in my hand to read it. You know, it's just something about it.
That's so very true. I will say this though about the whole digital comic books thing, and I've only purchased a handful, but print comics are so dang expensive these days. I can't buy many of those either.
That's true.
You know, your comics used to be on kind of crappy newspaper paper, and the printing was 4-color printing, and they were able to create a relatively low cost form of entertainment. These days, it's on luxury paper. And, you know, and the printing's perfect, and it's $8 an issue.
Yeah,
for a comic book.
You can't pull off the images with silly putty anymore. They don't stick to your silly putty. The ink doesn't work anymore. Yeah.
So they're defective, is what you're telling me.
That's right. I want my money back.
They're just illustrated books.
Yes.
All right, let's see who our winner is tonight. Let me go ahead and click the draw button.
Yeah.
Woo.
Nicholas. Karen. Sorry, Nicholas.
Oh,
Karen Lester, congratulations.
You're going to love it.
It's a great magazine. It's
I
fantastic.
like that it has really cool games with it. The
Yeah.
games on it.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations to Karen. That is awesome. Boy, I thought we were going to go down there for a second. Let me go ahead and take that off the screen. Karen, just so you know, here's the drill. I need you to send me your details so that I can forward this on to the folks at Remind Magazine. So just using that email address right here, go ahead and give me your address. If you're not inside the U.S., I will have to send you a alternate price. They can only ship to the, I believe, domestic U.S. But looking forward to hearing from you in email. I'm going to take this off the screen, but you can always reverse or replay the live stream if you missed it. You need to write it down. All right, guys. I've got a quiz. You want to see? Are you able to? If anybody needs to take off, feel free. I've got a
You can do it, Dave. We can't.
Okay. All right. Let's quiz up a bit here. I'm looking at Barry's message through the private chat. No, you're the best. You're the best, Barry.
Oh, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, you too. Get a room.
So here is our I'm going to go mute for a second.
We could do the sound effect.
You keep me young, Pat. You really do.
I might not have a half hour left in me. Who wants to MC this one? I'll click the button. Do I have a volunteer to MC?
We just did all the sounds for you, Dave, as you went mute. We did.
I'm going to have to assign someone if I don't get a volunteer. I need an MC here, guys.
I would, but
There's
I'm
a
glitching as it is.
You have a radio guy here, I believe.
Barry King, you
radio.
are assigned
Yeah, that's
to
radio. Radio.
I'm going to
There's
have
no
you
difference.
MC this one, Barry, and don't call on me. Okay, I'm going on mute.
Oh,
we'll make your sounds for you, Dave.
I will introduce the quiz, and then I'm going to I need you guys to carry it forward for me.
Okay.
We're going to look at 12. This is courtesy of our folks at MeTV. I say thank you to them, although I didn't ask to borrow this. Hopefully they won't mind. We'll give them all the positive press in the world. It's a wonderful channel.
It is. I borrow from them all the time.
It's a wonderful website. If you want to go and just kind of do some nice reading, they've just got fun games there, stories, all sorts of things. Check it out on the web as well as on your television set. We're going to see 12 products, and the goal will be to accurately guess the decade, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, and the decade in which it first showed up. So that's what you have to think about, because many of these crossed over through multiple decades. So with that, I'm going to go mute, and Barry King is going to lead us forward on this one as I try to recover my vocal cords here.
Okay, well, we have the MeTV. Can you guess which decade these Christmas gifts were most popular in? First one, there's the first one. Originally, Only Grow More Precious, which is the Cabbage Patch Kids. Was that the 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s? Time's ticking. Time's ticking. 30 seconds. Oh, we got a 30-second countdown. I've never seen the countdown before. That's cool. So, you've got 4 decades to choose from, so you've got at least a fighting chance of choosing which one. I think I know which one it is, but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to help anybody, because when I do these BTV quizzes on BK on the air, nobody helps me either. So I'll just go right along with it.
No help ever. So
no, Barry, since you are the leading this, you get to call on one of the other panelists here to provide an answer afterwards.
Well, time is up, so I'm going to call on Pat McCormick. Pat, what is the decade of the Cabbage Patch Kids?
The answer is yes.
Okay, yes.
No.
Which one?
I thought you meant, okay, so it's in one of those decades.
Sounds like some guy with a rock. Sounds like a rock star.
It would be one of those. I'm going to say the 80s.
You're going to say the 80s. Okay. It's the 80s. There's the answer. You got it right. Great.
Thank you.
I hope everybody out there playing. I see some folks got the 80s. Phil Ailing got it. Gary Carpenter, some other folks did. So bravo if you guessed the 80s on that. Next up, we've got, I had one of these guys, and I had the Stretch Monster too, but we're not talking about that one. We're talking about Stretch Armstrong. What decade was Stretch Armstrong released? Was it the 60s, 70s, or 80s? You've got, well, not 30, but now 26 seconds to go. I had one of those things. I don't know if anybody owned a Stretch Armstrong, but if you did and didn't mess with it, it turned into petrified brick later on in life if you owned one. Now, I did have a friend cut one open. We were interested in what was on the inside of them. It wasn't a good idea. It's like this red gelatinous gritty sand stuff, which was from another planet. So there we go. Time's up. Let's go to Thrash Pondo this time. Thrash, do you have a guess of when Stretch Armstrong stretched into our lives?
It's a wild guess. The 70s.
You're going to guess the 70s. You'd be right.
I had one too.
I had the Stretch Monster too. I think he came out maybe the next year or something. I can't remember. He was his nemesis. Okay, we got another question coming up. Here we go. Oh, look at that. It's the Game Boy, the little black and white Nintendo Game Boy. Don't just smile when they say you're grounded. Yeah, especially when you got a Game Boy. 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s Game Boy. I had a Game Boy. I certainly did. I used to have a nighttime job, and I took it with me at night where I could play it when no one's seeing me play it. I think one of my favorite Game Boy games was the Star Trek 25th Anniversary game came out where you controlled the Enterprise and Captain Kirk. Of course, I would like it because it's Star Trek. But we're counting down 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. I feel like mission control at NASA. Let's go up to Dave. I know Dave can at least say which decade. I know he can't talk very well. Dave, which decade do you guess?
90s.
The 90s.
By the way, I've already done this one, so I will give everybody my score. I got 7 out of 12. Not a real sterling score, by the way.
But hey, it's better than 4 out of 12, right?
But yeah, exactly. But I did get this one right when I played it earlier today.
Great. So if you said 90s like Dave Sundstrom, then you got it right. Fantastic. So far, I'm 100% so far here, guessing them. Wow, look at that. Kenner Star Wars. Look at all those look, where did they get all those wonderful toys? Kenner Star Wars. 60s.
Wrong movie franchise.
But true. That's true. 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. Kenner Star Wars toys. Come on. This one should be a handicap mulligan, as they call it in golf, as if I make a sports reference there, which I rarely do. This one is just like just hanging out just to take care of this one. This was
who knew Darth Vader had a van?
Yeah, and who knew he had a skinny neck like the action kit there? Where's his cape? Let's go back down to Pat McCormick on this one. Pat, come on, don't let me down. Which decade for Star Wars toys?
Well, it is clearly not the 60s, so we'll rule that out. Which means
at least 3 more.
I'm guessing it was the decade in which it all began. A decade a long time ago, far, far away, known as the 70s.
Known as the 70s. That's right. And if anybody told you when they were a kid that they bought their Star Wars action figures right after the movie came out, they're lying to you, because the toys did not come out until later after that Christmas of that year, because they didn't know Star Wars was going to be such a big hit. So
you could get coupons. You could actually, your parents could buy you a coupon that they could put in the stocking for toys that would come later on.
When I got that X-Wing with Luke Skywalker, I was just on top of the world. I'm telling you, it was fantastic. That Christmas was great. We have another one, right? Let's go to the next one. Oh, look at that. Now, what is that? Is that Barbie?
Barbie Dreamhouse.
Barbie Dreamhouse. Now, my sister had the Malibu Barbie Townhome. That's the one my sister has, but this is the Barbie Dream Home or Dream House. Let's guess whether it's the
ad, it says Barbie Glamour Home, but let's just say Barbie Dream House.
Dream Home Glamour. Dream and glamour, they usually come hand in hand, right? Home for the holidays for Barbies. Which decade did it come out? You've got 30 seconds to think about it. Now, this one, I don't know if I know this one or not, but I'm going to take a guess in my brain.
I missed this one. I missed
which one
this
it is.
one.
I'm going to be. Let me guess this one when the time's up, and we'll see. 60,
All I know is mine broke only 2 weeks after I got it.
Yours broke?
I wonder why.
I sat on it. Accidentally, of course.
That's better than what happened to mine. I couldn't keep my Amigo Captain Kirk away from my sister's Barbie figure. He was always going after her all the time.
It was either that or it was the M80, one or the other.
60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. That's me. I'm going to guess that that home was in the 80s. Oh, wow, man, I really missed that one.
Yeah, yeah, I missed it too. I said 70s.
Wow. Okay, jeez.
I'm giving my notice to BK on the air.
Oh, now come on, it's Barbie. How am I going to know that?
Right. This one's easier.
Oh, wow, look at that. We're preparing everyone that wanted one to do all the baking that you could when you grow up from actually using that. The Betty Crocker Easy Bake Oven, my sister did have one. I'm not telling what her age is because that would help you guess which decade it was from. But there you go, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. I'm going back. Who did I go to last? It was me, but it was, can I go back to Thrash for this one? Let's go to Thrash Pondo for this one. 6 seconds. What decade did that come out? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
The decade when I really discovered baked goods, I'm going to go with the 70s.
You discovered them. You didn't necessarily bake them, but you just discovered them, right?
Oh, and apparently it predated my love of bakery, too, by the way. Apparently it's the 60s. Oops,
That's another one I missed as well, Thrash Pondo.
The 60s. That thing baked with a little light bulb, right? So it wasn't very dangerous, I think, is what I heard.
But it was a
Two
good
ordinary light bulbs. It wasn't very dangerous, but it also took forever to cook. If you remember, I remember my sisters, and it would take literally an hour to make.
Good save there, Dave.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, whenever I try baking it, I mean, my sisters.
I hate waiting. I hate waiting for food. I'm just so impatient. I would hate that. Oh, look at this. We got Princess Candace from My Little Pony, Friendship Magic, mylittlepony.com. You can even check out their website. Ooh, that might give it away what decade it might be from. Now we got
true. Yeah.
ticking down here, 19 seconds to answer this. Think about it, everybody.
Should give it away.
60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s for My Little Pony. I did not own a My Little Pony, so I did have a Black Star Dragon from Filmation series cartoon Black Star. I did have one of those. He would have taken the My Little Pony out just like that. It would have been no problem at all. So did everybody get it? Let's go to Pat now. Pat, My Little Pony. You want to take a guess on that?
I've got that jingle in my head, man. My little pony, my little pony.
We need a rock version of that.
Pony,
Come on, Pat, send me a rock version of
Kill
that.
it. Oh, excuse me. That was the metal version. That pony came out in the 90s, I gotta believe.
To 80s.
See, so now this is misleading, and I blame MeTV for this one. I missed it too.
Yeah, because of the website.
I saw the .com and I knew it had to be 90s, but apparently they're showing an ad, not the first ad for the product.
Wow.
Yeah.
I throw a flag on the field on that. That's a little misleading. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
So I'm still bound 1,000.
At least you're reliable. That's nice. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, look at this, man. We're going down memory lane. Now we've got the Beanie Babies up there. Look at that.
Oh, BK, I know you know this one.
Oh, the Beanie Babies. I can't believe it. I saw those and never had one, but I found out how much some of those were worth. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You could have retired by now with some of these things. The Beanie Babies.
My mother collected those, Barry, and she was saving them for my children to use for their college education. And I have tried to list a couple of them on eBay, and to date, they have sold for $0. So you might have been wiser than you think.
Wow, then we weren't always right about what was going to be a collector's item. There's
Such is the collector's life.
four decades. I'm going to throw out the 80s. Were they in the 80s? Oh, the 90s. Wow, I missed it. See, I didn't get those either. So
and you had the gall to talk about those on your show last weekend. I am mortified.
I had my gallbladder removed a few years ago. If you know. Oh, here we go. Lego. Now, I guess these are the original Legos that came out. That's the decade they're wanting, because I know that it's a kind of got to think about it. What decade did Legos begin? A toy that I never got. I think I was about as mechanically inclined as Lincoln Logs, and that's as far as I got.
That's what I got as well, Barry. Lincoln Logs were.
I love Lincoln Logs.
Legos.
Those Lego erector sets. You had to be an engineering guy.
That may be a hint as to when it came out. If you think about the decade in which we got toys.
Terrible. I heard that, Pat. That's terrible.
Time for the cabin. Time to go build the cabin.
It's a baby Ruth in the pool. Yeah, there's the erector sets, though. I mean, I saw those and I'm like, there's no way. I'm not an engineering student. I can't put those things together. No way.
Well, stop. There's a joke there, too. Go ahead.
Erectors. Yeah, okay.
He said set.
So what decade, Thrash, did the Legos come out?
Well, I was very, very young. But I know for a fact they came out in the 60s.
Oh, no, the 80s. Really?
Legos?
That is what MeTV says.
Wow.
Oh, they got to be wrong.
We had to do some research on that.
We should do some research. Someone in the community do some research for us.
No.
They evolved. This might be a specific line in the 80s.
But I played with those in the 70s.
No.
Maybe even the 60s. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
A lot of people
I just saw a documentary about
crap on this one, so it's possible that MeTV is wrong.
Yeah, because they just had a documentary, "The Toys That Made Us," and they talked about how they first came from Denmark and yada blada. But yeah, it was way before the 80s.
Let's go with if people answered the 60s, they get a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
I'm giving myself a point.
Maybe they became commonplace.
But we'll count 80s too, because that's what MeTV says on their quiz. So.
You know, it's great to see it's great to see a network like that takes pride on these kind of things totally screw up, because every time I screw up, I'll just remember them and go, man, they're coast to coast. I'm so lucky.
Sean Ennis says 1962, so I think we're good.
Yep, sounds right.
Okay.
Maybe they just didn't get popular here
I
in
feel
the
better.
80s. You know?
They were affordable then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Just did a story on this one
Everything
too a few
was.
weeks ago on the show. How the idea for
Vincent Price
Simon
did the commercial.
Oh yeah, the Simon came out as an idea of looking at the lights at Studio 54. Someone was in Studio 54 and said, you know, I like how those lights are blinking. We should just make a game like that, a repeater game or something. That's how the genesis of that happened, because we talked about it on the show. But you got like
We're
10
giving
seconds
hints,
left
though.
now to tell us.
We've given people hints as to.
I didn't say the year, but I gave it away. Sorry.
The only cocaine-inspired children's toy.
That's right. Sorry, I didn't mean to give a year or a decade away there, but come on, let's just see it. What's the year?
We're all
the
friends
decade?
here.
70s.
yeah.
Wow.
I answered 80s on that one. You can see I did not
You
do
did?
well on this quiz.
Wow.
Yeah.
Waka waka waka.
Oh, look at that. The old Etch-a-Sketch. I love the Etch-a-Sketch growing up. You got 30 seconds to think about what decade it came out, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, if you guys are playing along out there. There was one that upped the Etch-a-Sketch. It came out, I think, in the 80s, and it was called Skadoodle. Do you guys remember Skadoodle?
I don't.
It was Etch-a-Sketch.
Bell ring in my head.
It was in a round screen, and with Skadoodle, the thing was you could stop and put your cursor somewhere else. You didn't have to backtrack through your drawing. That made it a little easier, but I do remember that. The Etch-a-Sketch.
What easier?
Breaking the rules. I tried my best to draw Starship Enterprise on Etch-a-Sketch, and I screwed it up every single time.
You just want to smash it.
The Etch-a-Sketch is an exercise in frustration. It really is.
It was, but we kept doing it. Well, what everybody's answering out there, I see the 60s, a lot of guesses. What decade did the Etch-a-Sketch hit the market? The 60s. So did all of us. We all hit the market in the 60s too.
All of us here knew the answer to that one.
Last one.
Wow, look at this thing. Is that the
Super Soaker?
Super Soaker. What that's I don't even think I had one of those, but I would have loved to have had one. I have a sister, and that would have been great to use on her.
I had a squirt gun, a little handheld pistol.
Yep.
Wow.
That was the extent of the soaking that I was able to do.
Remember the squirt guns that look like Uzis?
With the battery power.
Yeah,
I love the Uzi ones.
That was great. Well, I shot her with a BB gun once. Maybe I should have had a Super Soaker. I would have gotten less trouble. There we go. Oh, the timer started again. It stopped. It started over. Oh, there we go.
It's getting impatient.
Super Soaker. What decade? I got a good idea that it came out in the 90s. That's what I'm going to say. Am I right? I'm right. Oh, my goodness.
Way to go.
Holy
All
cow.
right. Let's see how everybody did. Final scores, folks. Did you guys keep track of your scores? I was 7 of 12. Do you guys know what you got?
Yeah,
10 of 12.
10 of 12.
7 of 9.
10 and 12.
10 of 12. How about you, BK? Did you?
7. I had 7. Yeah.
7. Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Tug was 8 of 12. Nice.
All right. Way to go, Tug.
Maybe that's what it was. No.
Although, you know what? I was 8 of 12 too, because like Zuper, because I said 60s on the Legos.
Legos.
Yep. Zuper was 8 of 12. Dave C was 9 of 12. Tom Lemery 8 of 12. Al Oduwardi 10 of 12. Gary Carpenter 10 of 12.
I like 7 of 9. 7 of 9.
7 of 9 in there.
Yeah.
Emily's score was.
It's 7 of 9 for me.
What a great quiz. That was great.
Yeah. Well, thanks to the
That
folks
was
at
fun.
MeTV, even with their erroneous answer.
Which is great.
Sean Ennis says 9 of 12. Ken got 7 right. Nick Mamona 6 of 10. Must have joined us late. Good to have you here, Nick. Dominic D10 of 12. Super 8 of 12. Let's see. One dude says you win some, you lose some. Let me go ahead and pull that up on the screen here so we don't lose Barry. Dolph Quick didn't keep track, but maybe 8. And Dave C wants to file a formal protest.
With Me TV.
Yeah, I'll let them know that I'll tell you what, I'll reach out to Me TV and tell them that I stole their quiz for the live stream, and I'm very angry that one of the answers was
It made a lot of people angry.
Right.
Really,
Merry
though,
Christmas.
Me TV, wonderful, wonderful company, website, and television channel. So can't say enough good things.
Ran by a bunch of kids.
Just
Really?
youngsters.
It seems so. When will
Wouldn't
Legos
surprise
come
me.
out? The 90s? That's
Well,
kids.
be careful. With our age now, a bunch of kids could be somebody in their early
Right.
40s. So
2000 and
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Mhm.
Tom says they were wrong on a couple of them. Wouldn't surprise me.
wow, good.
Wouldn't
Okay,
surprise me.
we knew that. That's awesome.
Maybe they just
Okay.
want mail.
All right, guys. I need to give this one, call this one, bring this one to a close. The old voice box is darn it all, is gone for the night. But I do want to, I'd love to have each of you talk a little bit about your channels, if you would. Get folks over there. If for any reason any of these folks haven't subscribed to your channels, they ought to. Barry, do you want to start?
Sure. Thanks for letting me fill in on the quiz, Dave. That was great. Had a good
Appreciate
time helping out. Yeah, it's BK on the air. That's me. That's my name. I've got a YouTube channel. I've also got you can hear me on a lot of podcasters out there. Just look up for BK on the air. You'll find me in places like SoundCloud and Spotify and Anchor, and I got a YouTube channel. I also am on the air live every Saturday, 10 a.m. till noon on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I'm located northwest of Atlanta in Cartersville, Georgia. We're near the big city of Atlanta, where all the movies are being filmed right now that we always love, that we see coming out. And I also want to tell you that you can listen to the show with the free TuneIn app or Soundgarden. If you want to hear me live, you can use those two apps to listen to the radio station, hear me live from 10 till noon Eastern every Saturday. Then I turn it into a podcast. You can hear it on those podcatchers. And I want to thank Dave for running this tonight, and all of my good retro buddies and brothers from another mother tonight. Always have a wonderful time with all of them and all of you out there in the chat. Thank you for being here. And I want to see you later on the podcast.
Oh, love your podcast, Barry. It's so great.
Thank you.
Pat, you're up.
It looks like I am. Well, first, thank you, Barry King, for having me on your show for years now. It's just amazing how fast time flies. And boy, it's great. It just feeds my fire.
You're welcome.
Speaking of which, I'm in the middle of my 4th season of my acted out retro TV trivia videos. And I've got 30 docked. I'm 15 in. But then this thing happened. I just thought I'd try my hand at doing a podcast. This retro TV trivia podcast has taken on a life of its own. I can't describe how happy I am that it seems like it was the right choice, only because the quality of the interviews I'm getting are blowing my mind. Just today, Stanley Livingston was on. Next week, I have George Chakiris, the Academy Award winner. Yeah, that was pretty cool. The week after that, I have Rich Correll, who is, if you don't know who Rich Correll is, folks, you do want to see this. He is responsible for so much of the entertainment that we enjoy. He was part of Leave It to Beaver, which is how I met him, through Jerry Mathers. The story that he told me that I have ready to go is one of the most entertaining things I've ever heard in my life, period. Wait until you hear what's going on with this guy. But I wanted to shout out to Tom McCleskey, because I told him I would do this. He knows who Rich Correll is. He played Jerry Mathers' best friend on the show. And Tom said, "Hey, I heard that Rich came up with the concept of the Munsters." And I thought, no, kid? No, I don't think so. But at least I didn't read it. But hey, guess what? I'm going to talk to him. And Tom, I'm proud to tell you, you were right.
Wow.
Rich Correll and Jerry Mathers both had a hand in the conceptual development of the Munsters. When you read about or hear about Rich, you'll see why. He has the largest collection of sci-fi horror film memorabilia, actual props from the movies. He owns the largest one. And he has 58% of it on display in LA right now, and it's everything. He came from, his dad was Amos and Andy. His dad was Charles Correll from Amos and Andy. So he grew up with some money. And the most down-to-earth, sweet guy, you would never even imagine that he was this guy. But that's how interesting this is going to be. And oh my gosh, I don't believe it. Today I interviewed Eileen Graff. You know who she is? Yeah, Mr. Belvedere. And boy, has she got a great past. And she was wonderful. But it's next week. Dee Wallace.
Can't wait.
Dee Wallace. And I am just so excited to talk to her for so many reasons. I love so many of her films. But she just put out this book called Born, and I'm reading it for a second time because it is not an autobiography. It's actually a lifesaver. And so we'll talk about that. You'll hear us talk about that because she's an amazing woman. Holy smokes. And again, the last thing, next week on the 14th, I'm doing a live stream where I'm going over all the classic TV all the classic TV autobiographies that I've read this year and rating them from not my favorite to my all-time favorite. There's 7 of them, 6 of them, 7 of them. You know, anyway, a lot of autobiographies, which, you know, folks, that's good reading because it's real. And yet these people's lives are so fascinating. So tune in for that. And there you have it.
That's awesome. Hey, Thrash Pondo, before we get to you, I just have to say thank you to Sparky for a super chat. Thank you so much, good sir. I'm assuming, I shouldn't say that. I have no idea. I want to thank them for their super chat. They say there are so many great versions of A Christmas Carol, the Muppet one with Michael Caine, and this is an important one. I agree. The one with Mr. Magoo is very good as well.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you, sir. Let me find good old Jim Backus. You can't beat him. You
Love that one.
Love that one. Right. Let's do this one.
Well, isn't that special?
Thanks for your support, Sparky. It's truly appreciated. All right. With that said, let's go to our friend Thrash Pondo. Tell us what's going on in your world, my friend.
Well, as you folks all know, it's a nostalgia channel right here on YouTube, and it plays to my favorite aspects, mostly sci-fi horror, preferred old TV shows, film, literature. I do reviews across the board there, but I also do a thing. I like modern humor, particularly dad jokes. The cornier, the better, the worse, the better. So I've had an ongoing series of the worst dad jokes money could buy at no charge. And I've been presenting that for some time. In addition, I've been doing some posts. I call them creepy classics, where I take an old forgotten 45 and deconstruct it to make it out to be this scary thought of horror anthology series. Because it's amazing, you can interpret these fun old songs to be as creepy as you want to be in some cases. And I've been getting a lot of mileage on that. And you can find me like right here on YouTube, same name, Thrash Pondo Pawns. And to all my new subscribers, and I'm hoping everyone here tonight who hasn't subscribed will subscribe, I have a special offer. All you do is ask. You give me a post of your choice, and I will do a post on it. What could be more personalized than that? Oh, and one last thing, not to self-promote. As soon as I ditch our good friend Dave here, I'm going to do a little after party tonight, by the way, for those of you who want to burn the midnight oil. I'm just going to have a little impromptu stream where I answer questions and we have a little fun. For those of you not quite willing to pack it in after Dave.
It's always fun hanging out with Thrash. It is.
And his stream is usually, his connection's usually better when it's his after party. So
thank you.
So I think you'll get a
That's
much
because everybody's drinking.
Thrash Pondo during the after party. So I'd encourage folks to head on over there once we finish up tonight. And we are pretty much done. Again, I want to say, Emily points out, I thought this was all about self-promotion.
It is, Thrash.
Sure.
That's what we're doing here. Shameless self-promotion.
My radio station never promotes me, so I'm the only one that can do it. I mean, they won't even help me out. So
hey, I promote you.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
I get something out of it.
Thank you to all of you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
It's been great. I'm going to head on. I'm going to take a quick break, take some medicine, and then I'll be over on Thrash Pondo's after party as well. But thank you, Barry, Pat, Thrash Pondo. Thanks for joining. And thank you to everyone here in the community, in the chat tonight. It's been wonderful. And I will play a little video here on our way out. But for heaven's sakes, that video is only playing so that you all have time and so that Thrash has time to get over and get everything set up. So if I don't see you all before the holidays actually transpire, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, Festivus, Feliz Festivus, whatever you celebrate, I hope it's a joyous time of year. But I suspect that I might be back for one more live stream. I'm trying to work something out with the Junk Man. So I think we may have one more before Christmas actually transpires. But thanks to everybody. Have a delightful night, and we will talk to you all very, very soon.
Christmas.